Hello friends, welcome to our channel WaveTutorials and you are watching AngularJS full tutorial session. And also I request you to, if you have still not subscribed to our channel, then please subscribe to it and don't forget to click on that notification bell icon so that you will get the notification whenever we upload a new video on this channel. Also, if you found the content of our video is valuable, then please like the video, and in case of any query you can write a comment in comment box. So let's start with today's session.
In this session, we will cover the folder structure of Angular project, introduction to important files, and booting process of AngularJS application. So let's start with the folder structure. Whenever we create a new project, AngularJS provides us default architecture which includes few folders and files. At level 1, we will get 3 folders: E2E, Node Modules, and SRC. E2E provide us a high-level testing which ensure that all of our component, functions, and methods are working correctly. The second one is Node Modules. Node Modules actually store the libraries which we require to execute the projects. Third one is SRC, which further contain 3 another folders. First one is App. The App folder contains routing, component, modules, directive, and pipes. The second one is Assets, where you can store all of your third-party libraries which you cannot store in Node Modules. Also, you can store all of your images, your custom templates, or CSS file in this folder. The third one is Environments, which further contain 2 TypeScript files, which allow us to execute our project either in development or in production mode. So with these folders, we have few other important files like angular.json, package.json, and main.ts file. So let's see all of these files in Visual Studio Code Editor. In this session, we will cover the folder structure of Angular project, introduction to important files, and booting process of AngularJS application. So let's start with the folder structure. Whenever we create a new project, AngularJS provides us default architecture which includes few folders and files. At level 1, we will get 3 folders: E2E, Node Modules, and SRC. E2E provide us a high-level testing which ensure that all of our component, functions, and methods are working correctly. The second one is Node Modules. Node Modules actually store the libraries which we require to execute the projects. Third one is SRC, which further contain 3 another folders. First one is App. The App folder contains routing, component, modules, directive, and pipes. The second one is Assets, where you can store all of your third-party libraries which you cannot store in Node Modules. Also, you can store all of your images, your custom templates, or CSS file in this folder. The third one is Environments, which further contain 2 TypeScript files, which allow us to execute our project either in development or in production mode. So with these folders, we have few other important files like angular.json, package.json, and main.ts file. So let's see all of these files in Visual Studio Code Editor. When we create a new project, you can see these are the default folder and files which are already ready for us to use. So before we discuss about this folder and files, let me execute the command ngserve with -o, which will automatically open it in browser. And let me adjust the window so that we can easily view browser and Visual Studio Code at the same time. You can see that application is compiled successfully and running on localhost port 4200. So let's start with this default template. So let me maximize the browser window. You can see that Angular is providing us a default template where he provide us some information like you can learn AngularJS, CLI documentation, Angular blog, or also It helps us with few commands to add new component, to add Angular material, add PWA progressive web app support. You can also create build protection setup using this command. So you can see that this page is a responsive page. When I minimize it, it will automatically adjust it. So let's see from where this page is coming from. So this page is actually a component, a default component which is provided with this setup, that is app component.html file. So components are a logical piece of code of AngularJS application which consists of template, classes and metadata that is used to decorate AngularJS class. Components are used to render the view which contain the HTML that need to be rendered in the application. So all of the HTML is written in this file, that HTML file. So whenever we create a new component, it generates 4 files. One is app.component.css file, app.component.html file, .ts that is TypeScript file, and one is spec.ts file. So the HTML file contains all the HTMLs which will render in browser, and in CSS file you can write all of your CSS code. The TS file is the source file where you can write your code, and the spec.ts file is a file where you can write your test cases regarding this component. So let's open the HTML file. You can see that this file also contains few CSS code. So the CSS code is written in between this style tag, and then the HTML is written here. So let's make some changes, and first of all let's move this style to style sheet file. So let's cut it and paste it in CSS file. When you saved it, you can see that the application is automatically compiled and show the updated rendered view here. So in TS file you can see that the HTML file is linked with this CSS file. So we moved the CSS code from this file to this. So you can see that nothing changed happened here. So let me do some other changes as well. So let's change the text to welcome. Welcome to Angular tutorials, and let's save it. And you can see the changes here. So browser is automatically listening to this port 42 and render the changes you made in your application. So let me adjust the window a little bit so that we will get more space for writing our code. So this is the mini map. So you can also hide this using the command Control Shift and P. You can type minimap and click on it. So this will hide. So you can also get it back using the same command. So now you see that the HTML component which is rendered this HTML view and its CSS class is written here, and the title ng app is coming from here. So this is coming from the source code file to here using interpolation. So we will discuss about this in our next videos. So let's maximize the window and let's discuss about app module. So let me close the other files. App module is also known as root module. Every Angular application has at least one Angular module, the root module, which bootstrap to launch the application. So let's discuss about this file. Here you can see that the import statement which imported few default libraries which is required in this file. The next one is ng module decorator. So about decorator we will discuss in detail in our upcoming videos. For now, to identify a decorator you can check the @ symbol prefix with this keyword. So the ng module decorator is imported from the Angular core library, which further consists of 4 sections. One is declaration, second one is import, third one is provider, and then bootstrap. So let's discuss it one by one. So for declaration, it consists of all the components we used in our application. So let's check it by creating a new component. Let me clear the batch by pressing Ctrl C. Let's clear the screen and let's type the command to generate a component. ng stands for Angular, G for generate, and C is a short form for component, and then name of the component, and press enter. So this will create 4 files and automatically add that file in declaration section in this module. And you can see that a component has been successfully created in app folder with the folder name test, and which further contains 4 files: CSS, HTML, TS, and spec file. Also, it's automatically added in declaration section. You can see here. The next one is import, which further contain browser module and app routing module, which is already added in it. So the browser module provide services that are essential to launch and run a browser app, and app routing module is used to route the AngularJS application pages. So we'll also discuss about what is app routing module. Next one is provider. Whenever we create a services, that will be added here in provider section. And the fourth one is bootstrap. Bootstrap is used to launch this application. You can see it's currently referring to app component, which is our default component. Actually, this section is related with booting process of application and is one of the most important part to understand. So let's understand the booting process. So let me first close this terminal window. So when we hit the URL, the compiler visit to main.ts file, where the Angular compiler read which module will load first. Here compiler will get the app module, which is our default root module in this application. Now compiler move to the app module.ts file and search for which component is required to load first. Here he get that app component. So let's open app component. Here you can see the selector of this component is app-root under component decorator. Selector is an instance of this component, and wherever you place this selector, the component will load there. And this selector is already placed in index.html file by default. You can see here. So the process is, when request received by browser to launch the application, browser load the index.html file, which further load the component whose selector name is app-root placed here. You can place as many component selectors on this single file. Further, we can load more components as per request using router outlet tag. You can see the router outlet tag in app.component.html file. So let's open it and move to the bottom. You can see that router outlet tag is placed here. We will discuss about the routing process and about this router outlet tag in detail in our coming videos. So Angular is actually a components based application which is not creating multiple pages. All the component loads on a single file. That is why it is known as SPA, single page application. Now we know the Angular booting process. So let's execute the ngserp command to see the process. So let's open the terminal window. Let me adjust the Visual Studio Code window. So let's clear all the HTML for now. And let's write down the h2 tag, the component name, and save it. So you can see that the view has been changed to app component. Now let's open the test component and right here test component, save it and copy its selector and paste it to app component. Save it, and you can see that the test component is shown here. Now let's copy that same selector and paste it to the index.html file. You can see that no any changes seen here. Why I did so? Because in app module only app component is allowed to bootstrap at the launching time. So if we add test component here and save it, now the bootstrap will launch two components at the same time whose selectors are written here, app.root and app.test. Now you can see that both the components are loaded at the same time. Now this proves that Angular is based on component. When you request to browser, then it will load a single page, and the same page can load multiple components here. So let's discuss about other folders as well. So we have discussed about this app folder and their files. Now the asset folder. Here you can keep your files like CSS file, your images file, or any third-party libraries which you cannot use in node modules. So you can place all of your files in asset folders. The another one is environments. So here you can see the two files. One is environment.ts where the production is set to false, and other one is environment.prod.ts where the production is set to true. So you can see here that our current application is running in development mode. Why? Because here in main.ts that it's imported the environment, so which is by default production is false. So let's see this. Let's see and inspect your current browser page. Go to console and you can see that Angular is running in development mode. So let's change it to environment.prod. Now you can see that live reloading enabled. So what is environment and environment.prod.ts? So the production environment is where you are deploying your application for production users, and the development application is where you are going to develop your application in development mode. So from here main.ts you can change the mode of your application either for development or for production. So let's close all of the files. Maximize the code, Visual Studio Code. Delete the terminal window, and let's discuss about node modules. Node module is used to store all the libraries and the dependencies of these libraries in this folder. So whatever the libraries we used in our project like Angular, Animation, Common, Compiler, RxJS, TSLib, etc., all these libraries are stored in this folder node modules. So let's search for RxJS. So you can see that RxJS is stored here. So let's check it by installing a new package. Let's open the terminal window and install a package like jQuery npm install jQuery and execute, enter. So you can see that jQuery has been successfully installed and automatically added in this file package.json. Now let's search its folder in node module. So let's refresh it. You can see here the jQuery folder is placed here. So let's check it again by uninstalling this jQuery. For this we have to use the command npm uninstall jQuery and press enter. So you can see the message removed one package. Now jQuery is not here, and also if we refresh the node module folder, you can see that we don't have any folder name like jQuery. So let's move to the next folder, that is E2E. So E2E is related with the end-to-end testing. We will discuss about E2E in our upcoming videos in detail. So for now, let's discuss about the other files as well. So let me close the terminal window and all the files, and let's discuss about this angular.json file. Angular.json file is a configuration file where you can see all the configuration detail of your project. So before Angular 6, this file was named as angular-cli.json, and after that in Angular 6 it was renamed to angular.json. So if you are going to upgrade your project from Angular 5 to above version, then don't be confused, its name was changed. So here you can see that all the configuration details, whatever the files required, are listed here. For example, index file was listed in source folder. Here you can see that. In asset section you can see that the favorite icon is placed in source folder. The asset folder is also placed here. You can define the global styles required for your project here by adding a comma here and type your path. The script folder allows you to add any global script file required in your project. The configuration for production or development environment is listed here, which you can see the files for environment and environment.prod.ts. Also in the same way, you can check the configuration for linting, for end-to-end tests, etc. So this file help you to configure all the files required for this project. So let's move to the next one. Polyfold.ts. So Polyfold.ts file is used to make user application compatible for various browsers. You already know that browser can understand JavaScript and not TypeScript. For this, Angular CLI used zone.js. So zone.js, which is also known as zones, provide a mechanism for encapsulating and intercepting asynchronous activity in the browser. Next one is style.css. So you can add all of your style CSS code here, which is a global file. The next one is test.ts. Test.ts is used for configuration required to write our test cases. This file is used by karma.config.js file and load recursively all the .spec and framework files. So you can see that this file is used with karma.config.js file. So which further use karma.jasmine, karma.chrome launcher, whatever the required libraries used to execute a test cases. So let's close the source folder. The next one is browser list rc. So in Angular its name was browser list, and now in Angular 10 its name was renamed to browser list rc. So this file is used to build system to adjust CSS and JavaScript output to support the specific browsers which listed below. The next one is editor config. So this is one of the most important file which used to work with team. Like if multiple developers are working on same project, then to make the coding style same, this file is used to set standards of application by setting few rules in this file. Like you can see the cat set, which will be defined as UTF-8, the indent size 2, indent style will be a space. So these type of configuration requires to work the project using the same standard. The next one is Git Ignore. So this file is used with Git source control. When you are going to check in your code, then the Git Ignore file will ignore those folders which are listed here, like this folder, node modules will not be checked in to your Git repository. Next one is Readme File. So this file is simply a Readme file which help us how we can serve our project, how to generate a component, how to build our app, how to execute the test cases or end-to-end test cases. So this file help us to execute with the basic commands required in this project. So for further detail, you can also study by visiting to these links. So the next is tsconfig.json file. So this file is related with the TypeScript configuration, so which further use two files tsconfig.app.json, tsconfig.spec.json, which is here. So these files further extend tsconfig base.json. So these four files are used for the configuration related to the TypeScript. The next one is Tslint. Tslint is actually a package that parts your TypeScript code looking for points that break the best practice rules. So actually it forced to follow the best practice rules in your application. It comes with pre-configured set of rules for best practices in TypeScript. So you can see that array type false, curly true. So you can also make few changes which require as per your requirement in your project. So the last one is package and package-log.json. So these are one of the most important file in this project. So we will discuss about them in detail in our next video. In this video, we have covered Angular project architecture. We will discuss the default files and folder structures of AngularJS application. Also, we have covered booting process of AngularJS application. In case of any query, you can post a comment in a comment box section, or you can also write to me at WaveTutorials@outlook.com. My name is Naveen, and thank you for watching this tutorial.